Yeah.
And was it last week that Dracula and Cthulhu got shipped? What's up for this week? What's the
I'm thinking the actual Count Dracula and some other flesh abomination.
See, I've been trying to find Alucard from Castlevania, the best husbando. Like, who's somebody that's really gonna take care of my boy? You know, besides me, obviously, I would totally take care of Alucard. I'd cook him fish; he wouldn't have to. But I'm like, someone like my boy Alucard needs someone in his life that's really gonna take care of him. It's not fucking Richter or Trevor. It's not the Beaumonts. They don't respect a Dracula proper. You know. So leave a comment below. Like, who should you ship Alucard? Who's gonna take care of Alucard? Really? Like, we're looking for a proper husband, right? Um, I see Jack Hank showing up, which
What
means
is his
it's
husband's?
yeah, yeah. We'll be the Tinder for Alucard. I am, of course, the magical Mr. Mephisto. I am your storyteller for Milwaukee by night. Endless Elegy, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play. We run it here live on Twitch, and the VODs end up on YouTube after the 24-hour TOS. Usually. Don't repot me. I am, of course, joined by my fantastic cast in full to start this time, and we're going to go ahead and let themselves do their introduction before we jump into episode or part 12, Syne and Cypher. The title I can't pronounce, but I'm most proud of so far. But Abby, how's it going? How's it going? Who are you playing? Where can people find you? If you want to shout out anything, I think there's something probably pretty awesome going on right now.
Oh, shucks, you're making me blush, but tonight I will be taking on the role of our lovely local Nosferatu, Pixie, who, had a bit of a confrontation last time, concerning some of her Coterie mates' actions, but what Coterie is a Coterie without fights? But if you want to find me other than here, you can find me at Enough of Abby on Twitter, where I will be playing games with Girls Run These Worlds, ampersand D20 in their Ein Mental Mori game, but most recently I've been in Regency Remixed on Girls Run These Worlds, playing Good Society. But for now, let's get to vamping.
Well, no, you can't just do that. I watched the first episode in full. I got to see a different
Oh,
side of you, which was pretty awesome. So I didn't watch the full ampersand thing. I was kind of in and out. It was live, but I went back and watched the VOD for Girls Run These Worlds, and I got to say I absolutely adore the like token mechanic in that game. It is
love it.
like you got into like a trend of just like everyone trading around the one influence token around to just like keep messing with people. I'm like, this is amazing. This is like the best thing I've ever seen. So that was pretty great. So that's a great show. But speaking of controlling this world, how's it going, Charlotte?
I'm controlling nothing. I am just a guest like everybody else.
That's what she'd have you believe.
Is it working?
Like a Toreador proper. So how's it going? What are you playing tonight? Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, I'm ready to get down at this party and play some music for everybody. Not really, but in game we will. And yeah, if you want to see anything else I'm doing, which is really not a lot right now, check me out on Twitter at Foxfire22. That is FOXFYRE22.
For now, not doing much, but no, you did actually make the ambient music that we've been playing here on the show. So
I've been slacking on that one.
yeah, I we need something a little funkier, you know. No, it's all right. No, speaking of funkier, how's it going, Scott? This transitions from that one broadcast.
Hi, my name is Scott, and I'll be playing Ben Sahar, the Tremere host of tonight's party. And I've also recently learned that several of my group doesn't know the reference of 13 Ghosts, and hopefully that doesn't backfire for them.
What reference from 13 Ghosts wouldn't they know? Like,
Well,
wait, the
being
original or
this host.
it was like Vincent Price was the original one, right? And then you had
All these people coming to my house.
Dibs on being
RJ
Matthew
doesn't even have to go
Lillard.
shopping.
Matthew Lillard.
I think Pixie's house has been full lately, but not as full as it could be.
I think that might maybe change tonight. We might change.
We'll see.
Love the 13 Ghosts remake too, by the way. But that's just because like Matthew Lillard carries so hard in that as like a psychic. It's fantastic. Good. So speaking of being a psychic for real in reality, how's it going, Tyromancer?
Psychic, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm Ty, and I am our resident Clan Hecata member, Salvatore.
Are you Hakata still?
I mean, as far as Decker knows, I better be. And my sire, and everybody else I've offended in my life of being a terrible, horrible, evil person.
Charlotte, you're gonna have to redo the intro video because we gotta like cross out the Hakata mask.
I've been waiting for having to make some tweaks to that down the line.
It's pretty funny, yeah. That does give me an actual real segue instead of these really hammy ones that I'm doing on purpose here. So we've been recording little side sessions, like little 10, 15-minute adventures with like a couple players or one player. There'll be more of those. Those are on the playlist on YouTube. Those only come out on YouTube, so check those out. One for Ty so far, and one with Scott and Charlotte. One involving werewolves, and one explaining precisely why Ty's may no longer be the resident Hakata for the Coterie. So if you want to check those out, those are on there. But last but not least, my oldest friend in the world, Sam. How's it going, man?
I'm doing all right. I'll be playing Cass, resident Malkavian, and we'll see how Cass does parties.
This should be
I
interesting.
don't know how this is gonna go. I don't think it's gonna go well, but
Gonna be the life of the party.
I had to go
Maybe.
deep into the grab bag of story hooks for this one tonight, everybody. So we'll see. I think it's just kind of like wind the Coterie up and let them go type of session. And then I guess I'm supposed to introduce myself. I already did that at the beginning, though. So Mephisto, that's me. Andrew, if you're not
So we never put you in a situation we don't think you can handle.
Yeah, there you go. This evening's adventure is a little bit different. There's a couple agendas on the docket for tonight. One of them, our Coterie's Tremere may have a lead on a ritual that could help wake a elder vampire. And I think that's kind of where we're going to start. Do you want to describe your remote location?
So I can't say the actual address of the house because it's in some Wisconsin, Milwaukee, whatever.
Oh, like...
And last time I tried to say it, both Ty and Andrew laughed at me.
Oh, was it Waukesha?
So, no.
Oconomowoc?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. There's like a whole meme of trying to pronounce Wisconsin names. They're either French or any one of the various indigenous tribes from the area. That's all anything is named in Wisconsin. So
essentially, it's a large home that's got a large that is in the center of a large open property. Better to do private Tremere things without nosy neighbors.
Okay.
The base of the house is just like really nice, like $600,000 big top house. But everything inside is pretty much like a stage home. It's not lived in. We don't use that. What's going to take place is going to be downstairs.
So this is on the same location then?
Yeah, we're going to do the Knails situation there and not at the club because much like Elizabeth was concerned about how Knails would react waking up, I would prefer Knails waking up not around a bunch of people we're trying to schmooze. I would
So,
rather him wake up elsewhere.
so regarding the party, I kind of want to touch base with everyone else in what they're sort of maybe sort of set the scene for their character going into this evening. Is the party itself going to be at Club Anything, or was this going to be at a different locale with like do you have a yeah.
Party is going to be at Club Anything.
Okay. Exclusive event.
Yes.
Alright.
Official
Because part of the original reason why we were starting this party was so I could meet with the contact along, and I guess Cass was interested in meeting with them as well, and let Elizabeth be in a private room with Luci away from anybody else. Because underneath the club, I have a couple different extra areas, and one of them includes 4 soundproof rooms that are used for vampires if they have to stay there during the day for any reason.
Interesting.
So they are soundproof inside, and they lock from the inside.
Interesting. So like little like vampire panic rooms.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, if for some reason like Tyler, me, or somebody got stuck there, they could stay there and not be in danger. There's some other stuff down there, but that's not where Luci and them are going to talk.
Okay.
We don't talk about the other stuff.
So it's a good point in time to sort of mention for everybody. Decker's Law has a rule about more than 9 kindred in a place at the same time. Now, Elysium is one of the exceptions, and then somehow the Sabbatical, which is another club actually in the same neighborhood as yours, has a clause that they're allowed to as well, and then Miller Park. So those are like sort of the 3 exceptions. Club Anything isn't one of those exceptions. Now, of course, you're only in trouble if you get caught breaking the rules. So I wonder how the Coterie is going to play around that, because there's a lot of sort of Elysium 2 style things going down. But I just kind of want to get an feel for the agendas of folks. So I'm going to start just kind of go around the my screen here. I think they're roughly the same over there. So what is Pixie's agenda for the evening? She had her little bit of a tiff, we'll call it, with Ben Sahar at Elysium. Some words were exchanged, and some of them publicly. So it's got to occur to Pix, even as fledgling as she is, that especially when when Ben Sahar, when they sort of got earnest with her, that you may have said some things that might have maybe got out into sort of kindred society. They may know some stuff. So what is Pixie's agenda for this evening? Does she have, does she want to like sort of shore up her bets with Sundown? Is she looking to actually meet up with Christian? Like, what's on the docket for Pix?
Honestly, a bit of it would be working down with Sundown, because slimy as a rat he may be, he knows how to get places. And if I can build some kind of rapport with him, it will make things go better with Christian, who at the moment is still a little distant for her. After all, he's standing atop such a high pillar of Nosferatu here in the city.
Well, Christian's not completely inaccessible. He considers himself a little bit of a shepherd of wayward souls, for better or worse. He's got the arrogance to go along with it, but it's really, he's been busy of late, as I think the Coterie understands. That might come up this evening. So where is so did you put out the call to Sundown to kind of meet up here, meet up in an adjacent lot? Are you going to insist on being with Ben when they perform the ritual on Knails?
Oh, definitely. I was hoping maybe while I witness this ritual. Actually, question to Ben, when is the party starting?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, so before or after ritual, I should say.
After.
Pix will probably actually, considering the rather public tiff and realizing, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been so vocal. Should probably ask to invite Sundown to this party. This might be a good place to chat.
I can maybe imagine you've perhaps arrived to ahead of the ritual, because you insisted on being on site there. That seems like a question for Ben Sahar.
That it is, Pix will pop out at Francis's old beat up pizza car. Assuming that I can just walk into Club Anything and find the designated ritual site.
Well, this is the remote location in Economillock.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, so y'all will be fashionably late to the party. Anyone who's doing the ritual, I'd maybe imagine.
That's fitting.
Sundown, not to be confused with the Nosferatu. Sort of late spring, early summer at this point. You're looking at around like 7, 8. Like you're getting closer to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So.
I see. Yeah, I will head to this remote location on Wednesday. Would Ben have to lead me there, or perhaps could I just skedaddle my little rat ass in?
Okay. Okay. What is Char? Well, I understand what Charlotte's agenda is, but maybe sort of how are you going about? So you meeting up with Luci. She's understanding you can meet you at Club Anything. Did you give her a specific time? Yeah, sort of what's going on with Charlotte, or sorry, with Elizabeth.
Originally, we were going to meet somewhere else, and then the
Okay.
whole party got announced, so I would have made contact with her through an appropriate means to let her know the change of venue. Which at that time, I would also give her a time to show up, probably around 11 o'clock, to give her time to take care of her own affairs before having to meet up.
Okay.
But I did get, what was his name? Barth?
Mm-hmm.
I did get him secured to play tonight. So around the 11 o'clock mark, I do plan on doing a bit of a duet with him. He doesn't know it yet. And that'll also align when Luci gets in, because she did express an interest in hearing me play.
So Salvatore. I'd imagine your early evening begins with sort of finalizing some rituals from last night. So you might also be fashionably late to Club Anything, or promptly on time, depending.
I believe whenever my new friend unzips me that evening, and there's probably some conversation or expectation.
Yeah, okay.
I would leave after
We can do that conversation if you'd like.
Oh, absolutely. I would not mind knowing what Salvatore has gotten himself into.
All right. Okay.
And then he would go to the party after getting a gift for Ben. Because you don't go to a party without a gift.
We just want to be proper. Cass, what's on your agenda for the evening?
It's a good question. Besides his questioning for that guy,
Mm-hmm. The contact.
Does Cass know the theme for the wedding is white?
Wait, there's a theme for the
party.
What's the theme for the party? I'm sorry.
Paradiso.
Paradiso.
All white.
Are we expected to dress that way as well?
Well, there's an important detail you should have mentioned.
I did. I even mentioned it in chat.
Oh boy.
Amazing.
Okay, then
That's why Elizabeth is wearing white.
So Castle will remember that and attempt to find white clothes. He's gonna end up dressing a lot like Andrew WK.
I mean, he's already got the look, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does party everywhere, as far as I recall. All right. So we'll begin the evening with the ritual. You have this Pix, who's insisted on being on site, sort of shows up as early as she's able to, given the constraints of sunlight and Francis's pizza delivery schedule. And you gonna need a ride to this party afterwards, or
Oh, no, I'm gonna catch a ride with a friend, and, hey, I really appreciate it, and she'll, dig through her pockets, probably pull out spare change as a tip? I know it's out of your way. Here, take this. I insist.
No, it's all right, but do we need to talk about the other night? You seemed a little, you know.
Oh no 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 no. Fine, completely. You know me. Always head in the air, that kind of thing. Sometimes it gets ahead of me. Bye, see ya. She'll just zoom off.
Reading Francis's face as you leave. I mean, I suppose Pix is the most socially, like, graceful individual, but you catch a sort of worried look on his face, and you know, he lingers for a while. He doesn't speed off immediately, which is usually kind of a little bit more his style. Always in a rush for the next delivery, since he's sort of usually using the clock a little bit to help with these. He's like, all right, well, and you kind of hear him, now distantly, just see you later, I guess, and shifts into drive and heads off. What type of security might Ben Sahar have? As you mentioned, this is a staged home. How masquerade aware are you? Or, is there like cameras, no cameras on the premises? What type of setup are we looking at? Do you know Pix is there before she even realizes it type thing? Like, or you wait for the doorbell? Are you already in the basement? Where's Ben Sahar?
So there are cameras in the inside of the home, but the majority of the security is wards.
Okay.
Ooh, spooky.
All right. So
and now we have RJ, basically, and some of my other friends can be security.
So you have RJ there. You've also got a small fan club, we'll call it. Are the fan club on hand to help with to assist in the ritual?
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Approximately how many?
There are 8 right now.
And RJ?
Counting RJ.
I'd imagine then Pix maybe knocks on the... Well, I guess Pix, you approach this door, rather lavish sort of mansion in the suburbs. One of those sort of places that has its own little private road off the end of a cul-de-sac, and you can see it's sort of flanked and wrapped in a horseshoe of trees behind it, and any semblance of a city or hint that this is even part of like a little neighborhood with a homeowners union or whatever, the homeowners association is kind of like disarmed by how remote it manages to feel, despite this small little like sort of suburban community, like I said. Maybe it occurs to Pix, maybe it doesn't, but remote and wilderness also sometimes means other things in
Glowing windows that I thought it was going to be, but it's nice. And actually, Pix, she's dressed for the theme. She's found the whitest hoodie that she has, and it's a white that is turned to ivory, we'll say.
Right
but she'll, with a bit of trepidation, knock at the door of the infamous Ben Sahar.
I'd imagine RJ answers the door, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Is RJ is RJ rocking like a fan club robe, or RJ in their plain clothes?
No, he's just plain clothes because he had to meet Issa for the stuff.
So he's in a pair of like acid washed to where they've become white, jeans. A pair of still black like Harley Davidson biker boots. A leather vest with white patches on it. Trying his best to be on theme. Answers the door. Just kind of gives you one of those nods. Ben's expecting you. I guess in the basement. Well, the basement.
Oh, didn't know Ben had a butler. Thank you.
I don't remember his intelligence, but in the moment, I'm sorry. 2. Okay.
He's mostly here for his muscles, not his intelligence.
Yeah, a person who survived the double death bite from the Hakata, I didn't take as an abundance of mind strength so much as physical strength and stamina.
Everyone needs a Gaston.
Too true. He uses antlers in all his decorating.
Like goons. What can I say?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, definitely. RJ definitely played hockey, right? Like it's the Midwest. So yeah, you head to the sort of like the basement, little nice suburban basement. It's finished. It's sort of 3/4 finished, and the final quarter that's not finished is wine cellar, basically. One of the more modern ones with the sort of walk-in sort of digital freezers, or digital like cooling, and like glass shelves and stuff. And RJ perhaps leads you to one of the coolers, and good old-fashioned mechanical lock. No technology here. He sort of like wedges and slides it to the side, and you can see some stairs that are more recently laid, heading down into the sort of sub-basement of this humble, totally not hiding anything sinister, remote mansion.
Little suburban gothic.
Right on. Ben, you see the sort of like crack of light from up above. You probably by this point already gathered the shopping list. Laid out your runes as necessary, glyphs in places. Your classics. Animal skulls. Black candles, that sort of thing. And
Got a few skulls in here.
yeah, I see that. And this is based on a real ritual. We just added some narrative magic to it. Do you want to go kind of maybe set the scene? I believe there's a ritual you're actually using, or using as the basis. Yeah.
So first, we're putting a rune circle around him that is anti-kindred, because we don't want, if something happens, we want him to stay in the spot. Just saying. Towards the very back, there's also a large, it's not in this image, but there's a large brass minotaur that looks very old and looks more in place in a museum than it would be in an actual home. I showed Mephisto a picture of it. It's pretty sweet. But so you got cultists in and around him. He's inside the circle. We have the nice creepy lighting with the candles, and both sides, if you look at that picture, there's two wells, and on the lit rim of the wells are candles, and then the brazier in the center, properly lit, except the fire is black, it's not red.
Okay, that requires one of these instead of metal.
And it is cold to the touch, not hot.
So Pix sort of descends into this quite well decorated basement, really, like real professional, almost Toreador touch to it. And you see at the center there, Knails in his sort of like, pretty much as you remember him, sort of ragged jeans. He no longer has his like ancient denim jacket, just in sort of like a black t-shirt that's been ripped up a little bit. But the matted hair and beard and stuff like that, just, he's a really old vampire in torpor, right? So looks as much of a corpse as the undead possibly can right now.
There's a bit of relief seeing him, like, considering everything that happened at the concert. It's good to see that he's alive, in a sense. Can any call up and he was alive? But I'll look to where Ben is standing. So, nice place you got here.
I like it. I'm fashioned after a couple of my favorite places.
I can see that. It's eclectic.
It's French.
Oui. Oh yeah, Ben, I wanted to say, last night, I'm sorry about that. It's just, I didn't think you'd, do that.
I blame your sire for your loose lips.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's opinionated, but it works. Trust me. Like, he gets stuff done.
That
So,
remains to be seen. But let's wake this guy up. We're on a schedule.
All right. So, are we gonna sacrifice virgins for this, or like goat, anything like that?
No, we already have wolf blood for that.
Right.
I mean, unless you're volunteering.
I'm not going to answer that question.
You're not going to say no?
Fix is just gonna hide her face in her hands with a sigh.
Right, I'll have to let Knails know.
I don't know what these.
You
people
cared
are
about him, but you wouldn't
do.
give him any of your blood to help him.
I don't think my blood is powerful enough. I think you made that pretty clear.
Touche.
All right, so you're going to go ahead and roll some ritual dice. And a special rule: you may, if you wish, sacrifice a cultist for one automatic one automatic success.
Those poor cultists. What did they ever do?
I feel we're crossing over into the realm of Warhammer here.
Sorry, I blame your
Do I look like
painting.
a dark elf? I am not a dark elf.
Right, yeah.
7.
Cultists made one very poor choice in their life. At least one.
All right. So you kind of go through the ritual. The words, the mood, right? The whole thing, the whole vibe. I was gonna quote the Little Mermaid scene where he tries to sing the song, and I forgot every line except for like the mood. It's the wind, the words, the mood, something like that. All right. So you go through the whole thing. I'll fix it in post. You go through the whole thing. The sort of wolf's blood begins to fill in. Some of these crevices in the rune that you've drawn, and it all sort of finds its way into the still open wounds of Knails in some place, like the sort of recesses of his cracked and parched corpseified skin, and as he begins to sort of jolt and jerk, you can even see this sort of like almost like black, like this sort of like black electric sparks and pops as the like werewolf blood begins to react with this, with this kindred, very old kindred, and the sort of properties of Issa's black spiral dancer blood really start to sort of have a reaction. It's very Frankenstein, right? Meets the occult and like some heavy metal music videos, like maybe Dio starts playing in the background. I don't know. And then he jerks up. As like the rest of the blood just sort of like begins to sort of seep in through his flesh and skin, and for a while there, he's almost like this sort of black tar in his rough sort of effigy and physical form, before it fully sort of like goes translucent and he's just sort of standing there wild-eyed. He immediately lunges towards one of the cultists in a bit of a lost state. The cultists fall back. I'm sorry, fans fall back, and like the runes hold for now. Your wards hold for now. After a moment, Knails sees Pix. Kind of wipes his beard. Just kind of points at you.
Hey, and it's with a little trepidation that Pix raises her hand at him. You remember me? Him?
Knails like looks at Ben, doesn't really have that look of recognition, maybe a little bit, and then shakes his head. no at first, and the no becomes a yes, and then like a more emphatic yes as he sort of looks back at you. He searches for his like notepad and like his pocket, his pens and stuff, and like they're gone. And you see him begin to get really frantic and look around, and like just like start. Now he drops to his knees and he starts looking around on the ground for the pens that should be in his shirt pocket.
Remind me, were those left at my place or did someone take them?
They would have been like lost in like way back in the concert. You know, he scuffled with a couple werewolves, and it's implied Issa kind of did him in. And she feels bad about it though.
Totally.
So they were just on, different sides of different plans, right?
Right.
Not finding his pens. You maybe thought to get his guitar?
That depends. I mean, I moved him to the Haven with the guitar, so it depends. Did you guys take him with his guitar?
I think it's guitar.
Pix, go ahead and roll a d10. Luck check.
Will do. Remind me how that is done. It has been a hot minute since I rolled a single d10 in this.
/R space, what is it, 1d10? Something like that.
Huh. Let's see. A 4.
Pix just didn't think to grab it.
Jeez, I'm sorry, Knails. I'm sure someone will be able to help you find it. Your stuff, I mean. I'm not sure what, like, the whole, like, she just makes a guitar thing. A guitar movement.
His eyes perk up. He nods. He sort of sits down and sits and like crosses his legs and kind of slumps on his like chin on his knuckles and just looks at the ruin around him, and then just sort of gives one of these to Ben.
The one thing I'll ask later is if you can help us out if we ask you. And 2, how hungry are you still? You could eat?
He's been eyeing up you've seen his eyes sort of darting at the cultist more than a few times, like just throughout this whole thing.
I think
He
we should
looks
take that as a yes.
to say he looks feral is he always looks a little feral. He's a metalhead ancient vampire.
So are you good for a favor later?
He starts carving in the sort of dirt floor here. It says depends.
On what?
And then he writes, who?
Well, I mean, it'd be one of us because I woke you up. She's the one that brought you out of the concert, so it'd be one of the two.
I that's a little risky, wouldn't you say, Ben? And Bix is just
But it's risky that
a little about these older vampires, and she doesn't relish the idea of giving up her blood, especially knowing.
No, he's not going to bite you.
He shakes his head in frustration, pats like sort of like unconsciously for his pens again. Looks really perplexed and frustrated. He starts grabbing his forehead and just shaking, and you see him sort of start fighting back some like anxiety responses, and he quick dusts away. Who kill? He writes in the sand.
No one yet.
Yet you see his face just sort of like, you sure?
I can grab some juice boxes if you're really down bad.
No, as soon as he agrees, we'll take care of it.
Ruthless.
He dusts it again, he takes his time writing, and he actually kind of has to go around the circles finding patches where he can't disturb, the glyph. And he just, in this weird sort of concentric circle, he writes this entire sentence. And it says, "Deal, but I won't hurt my friends." Or "Deal, but it's off if I have to hurt friends."
That's fair. And as I said, that's fair. I just take my foot and run it right through the line of the circle, so now he's free to come out if he wants.
Did you get the cultists to clear out quick, or? Okay, you lose 2 cultists in the ensuing frenzy.
That's fine. That was the whole deal. If he'd agreed sooner, I was going to just push him in instead of them stumbling back.
Hicks is gonna be a little horrified by that. She's just, I could have gotten juice boxes, like 10-minute trip at most.
When he regains himself, he just kind of like wipes the blood from his matted beard and almost looks like almost has like a look of shame, like toward like having let that amount of ferocity out in front of these, to him, kids.
I'm going to go ahead and take the bodies and I'm going to dump them down the wells.
While you're doing that, Knails looks at Pix and kind of grabs his tattered shirt and, kind of lifts it up and gives a shrug, like,
You need new clothes? Oh, your clothes! Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. After they took you from my place, I have no idea what happened to your stuff. I didn't touch your body while you were sleeping. That would be really weird. No offense. Like, I'm sure you look great under there. Just not my thing.
Unfortunately, your other clothes were really damaged by your Lupine attack. They wouldn't be much good to you now anyway.
He points at your shirt.
That's fine. I just give it to him.
Are they shirtless?
As I'm handing him my shirt, you basically see like all these like symbols and stuff all over Ben's back.
Matching, though not symbolic, Knails' body reveals like just insane amounts of scars, and you can actually see like where scars have healed, like really gnarled from where perforations would have been driven in. His name comes from what would have been nails driven through him in torture. And you can see, like, all over his torso, all over his arms, he's been, like, Knails did not have a good upbringing when he was mortal.
I'm just good.
All right, who's ready for the party? And I'm going to go ahead and spin on my heel, start walking upstairs.
What shirt did you just give Knails, by the way? Just like a t-shirt.
I mean, it's just a black, white tunic shirt.
All right.
You gotta be classy when you're doing your rituals, you know.
Right. Knails puts his hand on the walls as he heads up, and he comes across like a couple of the skulls, and he seems to like he walks past them, and then like he kind of like turns his ear to him, and then like he turns back real quick, and you actually see his like, like just kind of nodding along, and then like sort of pantomiming with them a little bit, and then he follows you upstairs.
I'm surprised that bull didn't say more to you, Knails. I'm gonna say that as I walk upstairs.
He just kind of glances back. He gives a look like what can only we'll call it the child please look.
That bull has seen some shit. It's partly why my house is haunted.
Wait, you didn't tell me this place was haunted when you invited me here. Like,
I didn't
just
invite you. You invited yourself.
well, you knew you were
You've been
having
hanging
a
out with Elizabeth too
feast.
much. She invites herself to all my shit too.
Oh, you Tremurans.
They've all told me what's going on.
In the theme of that, could you give me a ride to your party? I don't want to bother Francis any more than I have to.
I thought you wanted me to hire Francis. You don't want me to do that anymore?
I
Too much
Look.
cookie juice you don't remember?
No, Ben. I think that you're great to work with. Don't get me wrong, and you're efficient. And Pixel just cast a weary look back, but I don't want to get him any more involved with this vampire stuff.
The camera is at like the perfect angle to just see like one scrap of body part that that Ben missed in disposing of the cultists, you know. And right as RJ, you know, just down the stairs and at an angle, right as RJ's like closing closing the door, it like punctuating Pix's words about working with him. Like, it's at this moment that y'all notice that Knails missing. Do you have any instruments in your house?
Do you have any what?
Do you have any instruments in your house?
I have a large piano.
You hear the piano playing.
Please don't tell me you have a haunted piano in this house.
If I did, would I tell you?
Would you?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how much I wanted to mess with you.
Oh. Yeah, Pixel go to the piano and see who it is. Hopefully not a ghost.
The piano is playing itself.
Elizabeth, Charlotte's amazing.
Awesome.
I think Pix is, as she walks in and sees the piano playing itself, she's gonna have a just shoot a look back at Ben, incredulous.
I'll make him mad.
Are you kidding me?
As the notes of the piano sort of like strike and resonate, sort of through the walls, and you can hear them sort of bounce and reverberate back and forth. The Ben Sahar's manse, just sort of like in a blink. I mean, just in between, you know, vampires necessarily need to blink, but you know, you're sort of like glancing, and as you're, you know, one object obstructs your view, maybe like a vase or something. The entire room changes, and we'll get to what that is in a moment. We're gonna jump on over to who wants to go next. I feel pacing wise, Cass, would you like to roll? Would you like to roll your predator dice? This is you procuring clothes. the Cass way.
Oh man. Okay. What do I roll for this again?
So it's usually like you have on your second sheet of paper. It's got it's based on what your predator type is. So it might be resolve. It might be strength. If you're alley cat, it's strength, I recall, and brawl.
Strength and brawl.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you are the Dark Knight one, then it's resolve and brawl, I think, for some reason.
Okay. Can I make the case to put my add dominate in there as well?
Ooh.
For cloud the senses.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Yeah. So just add your dominate dice to the pool. And technically, if you have blood potency too, you would. I think you add one. Like you add the differential die, right? Isn't that a thing we're using? But just add the dominate dice for now.
Okay.
You know, weeks in a row, I opened up my books ahead of the game. The
Two
first time I
successes.
actually need to look at them. With 2 successes, you find somebody wearing the perfect Andrew WK shoes. like the white loafers from the from the party video or whatever it is. They're just like walking past, like you see them, and like basically like we see them just sort of like get pulled into an alleyway, and like one of the shoes left on the ground. We'll cut to Elizabeth. Meeting up with Luci. No, you weren't meeting up with Luci at an initial place. It was. Would you get to the club ahead of? Would you get to the club promptly on time? Would you? Do you have any agendas before the club? Sorry.
Actually, do I have any lingering hunger from the previous nights?
I recall
That's
you.
fine.
I recall you being at 1, but I could be foggy.
I do think you are correct. Yeah, it looks like I do have 1. So, yeah, I think I had 2. Then I borrowed a bag from Pix's house, and then got down to 1.
I think it was you were at 1. You borrowed a bag from Pix's house, and then when you did the mall stuff, you gained 1 back in the mall from like.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I believe is what it was, and then you were at Elysium and really haven't had the time to top up since.
Yeah, so I would want to see what Sarah is up to and pop in for an hour to say hi. And
Does Sarah live with? Does Sarah have a roommate? Did we establish where Sarah lives or anything like that? Where you might, or is this like you call her for a social call, meet up with her at like Ma Fisher's again or something, or Milwaukee campus? It's early on. She might have like a later class or a clubs type thing. So I really just up to you where you end up meeting her. Really,
probably at her place. She has this decent little basement apartment. Lives on her own.
probably on the east side where we all did in Milwaukee. So. River West, maybe.
I mean, if that's what Resources 2 gets you, then...
Resources 2, she might have a decent... She might actually be Upper East Side. Oh, crap. Brady Street.
Is Sal's
Talk
neighbor.
about fancy.
Yeah. Live where my buddy Keegan lives, next to, like, the people who actually own the Miller Company, or, like, near one of the Miller mansions or whatever. On Brewer Hill. She actually lives on the Upper East Side, with 2 resources. 1 resource would get you like the crappy River West apartment.
Well, we will say that she does have a roommate.
Okay. Yeah. So do you want to roleplay or roleplay? ROLL, ROLE?
Let's just get that out of the way. It's kind of
Yeah. All right.
serving at this point. Just a little...
Yep, meet up. Fine. And then we'll cut to we hear a zipping noise, and we and Sal is unzipped from the body bag he spent the last night in. Abigail's driver, sort of standing over you, dressed in pretty much like a zoot suit, fedora. Looks like a classic like Chicago, like prohibition gangster.
I like your hat.
He doesn't say anything to you. He just leaves the room. Leaves the door open.
No sign of Abigail.
Not in the room.
Sal will straighten out his tie and coat. Not in a body bag. That's not how you want to take care of your apparel.
Right.
And then we'll make his way towards the door and kind of just look outside. See.
Yeah. So Abigail's at sort of leaned up against the side of the vehicle. You're not sure when she changed or whatever, but she's got she's in like a more relaxed attire, blouse, blouse, jeans and stuff like that. she's let her hair down, but she does keep a nice little like ornamental clip in the side of it. She's like, well, darling, seems you slept well. You finally, for the first time, sort of take in your surroundings. Not the it's not the Ramada or anything like that, but it's not the like the dregs. Just a discreet Motel 6 style place. Like off of Silver Spring or something like that. And it's not the stretch Lincoln. It's just a Lincoln sedan here. So a little bit more discreet, but still, she doesn't mind displaying her opulence anywhere.
Didn't have much time to thank you last night. You arrived exactly when I needed help.
No, darling. I think that was fate, or maybe we're even. She smiles at you. We kindred from Chicago got to stick together, right?
Strangers in a strange land.
Still, you've been here a spell, yes?
Couple years now.
Yeah. I can't say I was too familiar with on too familiar terms with your sire. Just different circles, as it were. But we encountered each other. Honestly, he didn't really talk too much about you. Can't imagine why.
I wasn't his favorite son.
Again, can't imagine why. You seem to be driven.
Have my priorities.
So, a blood bond is akin to like an infatuation. It can be like infatuating. It can even be like mistaken love. It can be addiction. It can be stuff. So like, you're not just in the presence of this like this sort of Chicago socialite La Sombra with an air of mystery. You are in the presence of like a movie star, of a secret agent, of you're just infatuated with her at this point. I don't expect Sal's personality to change or anything like that, but he's fighting some emotions that have sort of riled themselves up inside of him.
I think likely it's also Sal sees it almost as servitude, because that's been kind of his. He's always worked for someone, been loyal to someone, but it's been it's not like your traditional job, but it's more like there's that passion for the work.
Yeah, and you have a like you actually have the bond junkie flaw. So
Yeah.
it's you're used to it, but it's also something that like you've become like adjusted to and stuff like that. So there's probably even a familiarity in being
Yeah.
bonded again. Like it's yeah.
It's like a hug.
Right. Yeah, like a evil hug from the abyss, lady. Yeah. Comforting.
So I mean, Sal probably is. It's not like a fawning, but there's that look like he's waiting. Like he's not gonna say I have somewhere to be, I have to leave. He's there as long as she wants to talk, as long as she needs something. I think he conveys that more through posture and approach than says, "Tell me what to do."
Right. No, absolutely. Like a little bit of the you're not like adjusting, looking at the watch. You're not turning your body language away. Like you're even maybe leaning a little forward, right, to show that you're interested and attentive, right? She's like, look, I just need a friend in this city. Kindred are always suspicious as a rule, and right they should be, and trust is, well, one of the most precious commodities around. So, What's your impression of Milwaukee? I tried to ask you before, but I'm afraid we were rushing. Or I'm afraid we were rushed.
There are battles to be fought here that Decker ignores. There are threats underneath his feet that he sends lapdogs after instead of dealing with directly.
Oh, intriguing. A prince sleeping on the job. What kind of threats? What battles is he ignoring?
He never got rid of the Sabbat entirely.
Interesting.
He sent our Coterie after them. We don't seem to ever focus much on the same thing, though.
What do you mean, darling?
We all have very strong individual streaks.
That might not be a bad thing. Coteries are important, she says. You probably wouldn't you probably wouldn't believe such a thing coming from me, but they're important, especially to a young kindred. As I said, trust is hard commodity to come by. But those fledgling, those young coteries, those do or die days, they form bonds you can't really get any other way. She says, kind of like looking at her already healed wrist, you know. You said battles, plural, threats, plural. Anything beside the Sabbat you think I might need to, keep a lookout for? I'd love to have a safe stay here in Milwaukee.
Pentax is everywhere. Buying up property, wooing the people. He does nothing to stop their encroachment.
Say I, just, hypothetical, humor a girl, will you? How would you deal with Pentax? Say you're a head of security or of some firm or a sheriff or something like that. What would you do with Pentax?
We had a way of running protection for businesses we cared about, and bad things would happen to those that didn't pay. It would start with windows, then it would be their trucks. Before you know it, it would be in flames.
I heard a thing about a fire or two. Still, you have to admit, with the SI having more scrutiny these days, some of the old ways don't quite work. You hear a chuckle from her driver, who has I guess she has a type. like 1920s bootlegger types.
You try to win in the boardroom. You buy the property. You make the market harder for them to get a share.
No,
I'm not one for playing that way, though.
No, I bet you're not. She kind of like gives you one of those like sort of taps on the cheek. Don't worry. I don't really. We'll be in touch. I don't really have anything for you to worry about right now. I just needed to, girl's got to keep herself safe. Trying times. SI, werewolves.
Talons, too.
I'm sorry? Come again, darling?
Salvatore will relate what he heard from Akawa as well, because he's just an ever-flowing waterfall of information for Abigail.
Welcome to the club.
It's at
Actually,
this.
though, what's funny is he still hasn't shared the best information yet.
You're not sure where she produces the cigarette from, but there's suddenly one like between her like fingers, like an old like Capri, like the long straight, like the.
Scott, don't worry, we're building up. We're going through Sal's priority of
She lights the cigarette and sort of wills herself to breathe again. Doesn't do a damn thing for me anymore, she says, but old habits. Run along, darling, run along.
Of course.
Oh, I'm sorry, where am I, man? Do you need a ride anywhere?
I need to stop home, pick a few things up for a party.
Lawrence here will take you wherever you need to go. I'm gonna take in the local culture. And she like sort of like walks off. Sam, roll your dominate plus dice. Roll your predator again.
Okay.
Elsewhere, Cass is like perched up on a dumpster.
That's 5 successes on 5 dice.
Someone comes walking by in like like the most pristine pair of like white jeans you've ever seen. And then we just see them disappear into the alleyway again. Now all you need is a shirt. It's about this time that Elizabeth would be showing up to the club. Back at Ben Sahar's staged home. In place of the mansion, sort of like perfectly manicured like carpets and hardwood and polished hardwoods, poured concrete and stacked block walls replaced them with dank lighting of like torches and burning oil of a to you uncommon sort. Have replaced the scenery. There's no furniture beyond sort of like plain wooden and plain wooden and downed cushioned like artisan pieces, and the whole layout is roughly the same as Ben's place, but it's sort of been transported back in time by a few hundred years. And you can hear whistling coming from upstairs.
This is new.
New? Like, define new.
New as in a new expectation and a new sensation.
Can you please look into that? Because I don't like where any of this is going, and Pix is just gonna, with each word, inch further and further behind him.
I'm gonna walk in what would be the kitchen and try to look for a chef's knife.
Having a Scooby-Doo moment.
You find one, like sort of like laying out, as you sort of grip this like more like smith, sort of in the classical style blade, and pull it from the counter. It returns to its like more manufactured, factory manufactured state.
We should go figure out what that is. I'm gonna start heading towards the whistling.
As you head upstairs to what would be near like what Ben would say is their sleeping quarters, the same thing, stone walls in place of like wallpaper, or painted walls and stuff like that. And you along the way pass a very tall, ragged, gray sort of dog like an Irish, what are those, like Irish setter sort, like just
Irish
big,
wolfhound.
yeah, like just big, raggedy haired, yeah, huge, just kind of like laying there with like a ham bone, just like paw over it, and kind of lazily looks at you with these big brown eyes as you walk past it towards where your room would be, and you see, Knails, whistling, staring in a standing mirror, at and going through an armoire where your closet should be, just like throwing your clothes across the room. The image in the mirror reflects your room as it is, and you can see these sort of like swirls of light and sort of fantasy almost leaking from Nails' head as he whistles.
All the fear from Pix kind of just dissolves as she gives just
Uh,
an at ease smile. Well, that solves that.
as
Hey,
he
Nails!
as he notices Pix, you followed as well.
Oh, yes, she definitely did. She is just behind Ben, waiting for him to take the hit.
As soon as as suddenly as the dementation set in, it subsides as Nails remembers himself, and everything's as it was, and Nails is now wearing a bizarrely similar to how you found him pair of jeans and jacket.
I knew I had one of those somewhere. I just didn't remember where.
Yeah, they're not identical, but like he managed to find like your denim like through like, and all your clothes are just everywhere.
So I'm gonna start digging through the clothes and be like, Nails, when you were throwing all this stuff out, did you see my red suit? I need my red suit with black tie.
Huh. Ben, I
He,
didn't think you were the type of person to wear suits.
I wear suits all the time. I've even worn one with you.
Yeah, but like for nice events.
Nails
Going to a
snaps
nice event.
and points like on the headboard where like the coats landed, and if you're rocking a 3-piece, like gestures where like the pants and the vest ended up like in a crumple on the other side of the bed, and he's like twirling the tie around his fingertip.
Can I have that, please?
And he flattens down his lapel and like gives like a kind of like boastful grin over at Pix. You'll notice that the dresser, or like the desk in the room, is like completely just mangled. Drawers laying out of it, paper everywhere, and all of the pens and like the caps have been pulled off. They've been scribbled on like the walls on the desktop itself, to find like the right the right, the ones with the right felt, the right ball, and he's got this assortment of pens and markers back in his breast pocket, this time with a white t-shirt instead of his former black t-shirt, because he knew somehow. And he's managed to rip up some of the other clothing you'll see, and has stitched like flames on the denim jacket on the back with like different layers of patterns and stuff like that, and he's made his own little patches for the jacket.
You are quick.
He just like, yeah, guilty.
Go ahead and set down my knife and finish dressing up, and then I'm gonna say, Nails, do you need a ride back into town?
Gives you the thumbs up.
All right.
He sort of seems to catch himself and like sort of gestures between himself and Pix.
Pix is
No,
coming.
I'm good. Oh, yeah, of course I'll be at the party. I'm still a little unnerved by what I saw in the basement.
Good thing you didn't ask any questions.
He sighs.
Then we could really freak you out.
Oh, I didn't say that aloud. Pix is just, oof, she is still jumpy.
He carefully retrieves the Sharpie, quick writes a note in a notebook, and he shows it to Pix, and it says, "Thank you, and I'm sorry."
Hey, it happens to the best of us, right? I mean, I hope we can avoid that happening again, but really, no biggie.
Kind of puts his
And it
hands
was
up.
mostly Ben here. And she'll point over at Ben.
He takes the notebook out, covers up the part where it says "I'm sorry," and points at "Thank you,"
Oh.
and points to the "Thank you" to Ben. And then he puts the notebook back and very carefully returns the cap to the Sharpie to make sure to not damage the felt.
Time to go.
We'll cut to Cass securing his final piece of clothing.
3 successes.
Not as nice as the pants, but you managed to find someone walking in like they actually look alarmingly like Andrew WK, like currently with like dried some dried brown spurts that you might have maybe been red at one point in time around the collar of the white shirt. Like the long sort of straight hair, really sort of squared jaw, looks like I said, alarmingly like Andrew WK, and Cass just hits him over the back of the head with a brick and just pulls his shirt off of him. Gotta break
The
up.
brick was a nice touch.
Thank you. So the Coterie will all have reconvened at Club Anything. And I'm sorry, you wanted to have some dialogue in the truck on the way over. Sorry, Pix.
Yeah, Pix is disquieted by what's occurred. Like, it's kind of a... She's never really embraced the whole fact that she's a vampire aside from the hideous phase, but seeing that tonight, whether, the rituals, the blood, the killing, it's settled heavily on her mind, and in the car she's definitely disquieted, making jointed conversation like, oh, nice weather, huh? Right?
Weather. Interesting. Forced topic.
What do you want to talk about? The fact that, like, a bunch of your friends got torn up in your basement? Or, like, is this just Tuesday night for you?
Tuesday. That's why there's only 8. Well, 6.
Jeez. I don't know how you keep doing this, but...
I didn't show you my jar collection.
Your what?
My jar collection.
I'll take your word for it.
You'll have to come over again sometime.
I'll call you.
Suit yourself.
Goddamn Tremere.
Meanwhile, Knails is like just kind of looking out the car window.
It'd be blood sorcery without blood. Am I right?
Knails actually is like nodding in agreement from the back seat. Like, got you there.
Yeah, it's useful. I won't deny that. It's a lot.
All right. Now y'all pull up. The Coterie is all sort of, staggered in and varying intervals into Club Anything. Pretty much as soon as Ben Sahar and Pix open the car doors, you just do one of those double takes and Knails just isn't there. He was there a second and then just didn't see him move. And there was no, like, rush of wind, nothing like that, just like a phantom.
He's gone.
Yeah.
I think I'd be used to this shit by now.
I mean, when they get that old, they're more of a force of nature. They just kind of let them just do whatever.
Fair point, Ben. Fair point.
That's why I didn't get mad when he destroyed all my shit.
I mean, you got people to help you with that, right? Your butler who was at the door?
RJ is a work in progress.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't call him a butler yet.
Gotta get one of those fancy
He's a
little
butler in
stuff.
training. We give him one of those dress t-shirts with a suit on it. He'll be a butler in no time.
Get some cufflinks too. Reward him. Maybe Sal might know.
Elizabeth's already inside Club Anything when Ben Sahar's very fanciful restored truck sort of pulls up, on the curbside and like goes around back to like the sort of VIP parking that he no doubt that they no doubt have. Is Elizabeth sort of picked a spot out in there? Does she have like a VIP booth? Is she mingling? And I guess in general to all of y'all, how exclusive is this party this evening? Are like any precautions taken to maintain the masquerade? Any herd called in? Any what kind of what I guess just sort of generally, how's the shindig going down? Under the nose of the prince, like what do we got going on here?
I mean,
So
without
as far as
speaking.
like
Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, so as far as like the plan is that it would just be a mixture of humans and vampires, and the vampires would be specifically people invited by the party.
Okay.
Because we had some very specific people they wanted to talk to, and to basically keep the guise of a Decker approved meeting, of 9 vampires or whatever. That way it would keep us low because then we'd stick around 8 to 9 because we already have Tyler in there too. So use that to semi-discourage other vampires from showing up unless they're worried about Decker.
Okay. So
But
Tyler,
as far as like feeding stuff though, you're just gonna have just normal club stuff. There's no blood dolls or herd or anything.
Okay. So Tyler's pretty much got their agenda, their orders to make sure that like they keep a strict head count, right? Like, so all right. So Tyler is more than usual, sort of maintaining the flow of traffic, being a real stickler for it. Talking about fire code and keeping like Gein out at the right time, stuff like that. Just being very mindful of that. You were going to interject something there, Abby? What were you going to say?
I was. Pix would have picked out just a little booth just for Sundown, and without saying anything with Sundown is on the down low. So probably just some darker corner where she can slink off in almost an, I would say almost Junival way, like where she's like a nervous girl waiting for a date, except it's the most disgusting kindred I have encountered this night.
Yeah. So there's actually like a nice little booth up in the loft that's like remote, not so like inconspicuous as to be suspicious in and of itself, but you'd be up in the loft, you'd be in one of like the sort of tucked away booths, not near the opposite the window, and so that would be a decent place. Elizabeth, any general stuff going on?
No, I think at this point I would just be sitting down and kind of taking in the event itself, seeing who's who, what's going on, kind of getting a gauge of kind of the feelings that are in the room right now. I would be looking at going to talk to Barth here right away to get him to throw something on and start doing our impromptu duets.
Yeah, so Barth has sort of set up underneath the clock at the far end of Club Anything. He's begun sort of setting up his tables, and like I said, he's got a sort of Toreador and they have their art, right? Whatever their form is. Barth's is I mean, like old school DJing, old school producing. So he has some tracks that he produces like ahead of time, in your Pro Tools Pro Tools or whatever software the kids are using these days. But then he also heavily prides himself on still spinning records and having organic instruments with him and stuff like that. Tonight, scant on the organic instruments though, so a lot of samples pulled from like old records and like the Supremes and stuff like that. Like really rocking like some like old soul this evening, mixed in with some more of your modern like dubstep and chill hop. So he's got like a really very much a style all his own. There's only like a Vampire Toreador could just like hear the sort of synergy between these time periods, right? And really make something quite special. And even just the ambient stuff he's got bumping right now while he's setting up has like a real, to your trained ear, there's some real talent there. You get whatever Toreador sired him, seeing something in him. What must have been back in the 80s or something like that, must be when he was originally embraced. You're gathering from his general fondness for the time period of music and stuff. So, yeah, he's like, oh, Elizabeth, yeah. He's rocking his like British flag hat again with the snapback and stuff like that. Ironically, the ironic British flag hat.
Hey, yeah, it's so great that you could make it tonight. Thank you for doing this for us.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure, really. Says, how wary of Barth's presence is Elizabeth?
I mean, as wary as she would be from any vampire, especially one from her own clan.
And Decker's court, no less, right? But okay. Yeah, it was my pleasure. I'm gonna have some. We're gonna have a little bit of a, call it like a social combat all out per the social combat rules, but there's gonna be some verbal sparring with Barth as you sort of getting a vibe for him, his presence, his agenda, and you're sort of doing that thing where you're talking subtextually between the lines around kindred and kine who may not be on the same level as y'all, right? Sort of like a Toreador cant, like a secret language between Toreador and diplomats, right?
Just a series of grunts.
I think Toreador, it's like making up a bunch of words to describe music that, like, oh, the syncopation in this one is, and it's just like total.
It's actually a favorite word of mine.
Syncopation?
Yeah, I like the way it sounds.
Really? Fantastic.
Syncopated.
I'm glad I accidentally picked that word out of just out of the ether. So to get things started, let's roll a straight willpower, just to kind of set the tone of this exchange. Of course, I've partitioned off my dice.
That is a 2 from me.
Talking to Barth, you get a slight edge to the situation. You get a sense that you're not meeting on equal terms.
Can I feel a bit of that unevenness, whether it's in my favor or his?
His. You both have your agendas and, stuff going on, but you sense that, like, there's a little bit of, maybe like a little bit of a haughtiness that tips his hand in the moment or something like that, sort of, maybe it's the way the crowd sort of responds a little bit more to him, and like maybe ignores you in like ambient conversations. Like it seems a little bit more like you should have like kind of the home field advantage here, but you feel like it's a little bit more on his side.
So do you usually do all of the shows for Elysium and other venues around here?
When I have the free time, usually these days, honestly, the podcast keeps me busy. I try to keep up appearances because this is what I love. But these nights, he looks around. In our business, and in that sense, you highly get him to be implying Camarilla business. In our business, don't get as much opportunities for just art for the sake of art anymore. Duty first.
Yeah, that's fair. At least we have tonight. If nothing else, we have tonight.
What type of role would you like to do to sort of take the arrest the situation back into your favor? With that quip there, I think that was pretty. Was that more of a charismatic sort of own the moment type thing? Was it more of a barb? Was there an edge
Yeah,
to it?
I think it'd be more charisma based, kind of like bringing him in. We have
Okay.
now.
Okay. You can do a persuasion and charisma. You could do a politics and charisma. This is probably more of a political type. But
I got nothing in politics, but I do have something in persuasion.
let's go for the
so-
persuasive. Let's play the persuasive angle then.
I forgot to knock that hunger down.
Uh,
Either way, I got like 6 successes.
You know what? You know what we do have tonight, he says. And you sense a little bit of the tension between you two lighten up. Maybe you're back on that equal footing. Maybe even a little more in your favor now. Maybe he's willing to, actually like really see where this evening is going to go. Maybe whatever agenda he might have came in there with has abated some.
I see that you still have to get your stuff set up, but later on, let's show them what we got. I feel you have some real skills, some real talent from what I heard from last night.
He's like, well, true. I don't like to brag, but yeah. He's like, what do you bring into the tables? And he kind of, gestures at the records.
Where I was sitting down, I would have had my violin case with me, and I would have left it over there while I went and walked to him.
Electric or classic? Acoustic. I don't know if you call it.
Classic.
All right. He's like, you're actually kind of tall. I'm gonna have to set up a couple mics. so Bart.
Just smiling at him.
Yeah. Oh.
How about we schedule it for 10:55? We'll kick it off.
That is very.
Can you,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we all have our areas that we want to control as much as we can.
All right. Yeah, I'll get something.
Something modern.
All right. Yeah. He's like, I'm thinking maybe. I mean, the only thing I know I can think of personally is like Lindsey Sterling. He's like, I'll get something like a Lindsey Sterling type vibe going on. He says. I'm sure there's like something that would be deeper in his repertoire than mine.
Yeah, when he mentions her name, I kind of scoff. Should be fun.
Should be, yeah. All right. I think this is where this is about where Sal comes in. We're gonna save Cass's dramatic entrance for the very last.
Yeah. Sal enters and he's wearing his black pants that he always has, but he has a white shirt on, and clutched under one arm of is a package wrapped in like butcher paper and tied with like twine, like string twine. And he looks around for Ben. Like it's not a hello to anyone else. He's strictly here because it's Ben's party, and he's looking for Ben. And that is clear to probably everybody in the room. If anyone tries to say hi, he's just like, "Where's Ben? Have you seen Ben?"
Is Ben Zahar waiting for a grand entrance, or are you milling about?
No, I was milling about, and I was slowly making my way towards the TJ to make sure everything was going okay.
Yeah, you probably catch the tail. None of the specifics. You don't really hear much. Maybe catch the sort of like last, joust or whatever there between the two. And when, almost audibly, Salvatore enters, and Sal, you can notice sort of like at the far end, sort of standing out in a red suit, despite everybody else being told to wear white, is Ben Sahar.
Salvatore probably pushes a few people out of the way in his haste across the room.
Hey, watch it, buddy.
And Sal shoots that.
My bad. Sorry, I was in the way, and they kind of shrink.
Keeps walking right towards Ben and gets there, and he says, "Sorry, I didn't wear white pants. I don't have any. It's not good for my line of work."
I guess I can forgive you.
Your party, though, I brought you a gift. And he hands out the parcel. It's
That was
big,
even easier to forgive you.
like shoebox sized, but it's a parcel.
What'd you bring?
You'll want to open it in your office, I presume.
All right. I'm going to spin around and walk up towards my office.
So I'll follow along. Just this cold black heart can be made happy by Ben opening a gift.
Anyone else go along to witness this gift opening?
I have had enough spooky shit tonight, and I have a date with Sundown, so I'm just gonna sit my little Nosferatu ass down and watch those two have fun.
So, real quick, Meph, have you ever thought about like the significance of Tyler being at a party called Paradise?
Oh, I'm sorry, what? You cut it.
Have you thought about Tyler being at a party called Paradise? Have you there's some funny stuff for that. That's partly why I wanted to call it Paradise.
Oh no, I must have missed it. I'm only
Tyler's
vaguely
clan.
familiar with the Tyler character. So
Tyler's clan is Ministry.
oh,
Yeah.
metal. Okay, no, that's funny. All right.
Oh no.
Oh, just you
Got a
wait.
snake in the garden, buddy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that in your rock and red, like classic devil, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I got that. Yeah, the ministry thing. I didn't know that the Tyler. I thought Tyler was Torador still, but
He is.
all right. So y'all head up to the office. I guess this is your gift. You're in your scene, y'all.
So when you go to like the office, there's no electronics in the office at all. There's no computers. There's no anything electrical, and it's got a bunch of like old paintings and old statues in there of varying locations. I don't. None of this probably matters to Sal, so he's not going to care about what they are specifically. And then I'm going to go ahead and proceed to walk over to the desk and take out some scissors and go to open the paper.
Yeah, so you instantly some like it's not bagged or anything, but some of it's earth, it's dirt falls out, but it would be clear to Ben that it's grave earth. And then there's two things inside of that parcel, as well as the soil from like a fresh grave. One is a finger bone, and the other is a little clay like half bowl, but it would probably be clear to Ben it's the top part of a skull that was then covered in clay and baked to form like a ritual bowl for like blood sacrifices. Little thoughtful gift from Sal.
Sal, I appreciate that you get me. I appreciate this.
I think you just put more thought into that gift than I have in any individual scene so far.
I'm going to go ahead and go hug Sal and say, thanks, buddy. And pat him on the back.
I thought it would be only appropriate. I don't want to stick around long tonight, but you and I should talk.
Do what you got to do.
Understand there will probably be a fair number of our kind here. I wouldn't want our prince to get suspicious.
Oh, I would be very concerned if he got suspicious.
That's what I. When this wraps up, though, what do you say we catch a nightcap?
Absolutely.
And Sal will just.
I got some stuff to show you too.
As the sort of camera sort of pans to head out the room, a painting that Ben Sahar doesn't recall being on their wall, they notice for the first time is there. It is a rather particular painting of Lilith in the Garden of Eden. You maybe notice a note. It's written in Arabic. And it just
Go
says,
ahead and read it.
just says, didn't seem like home without it.
It's another one of those good friends that gets me.
It's there where Cass makes his grand entrance. So you maybe grab some accoutrements or whatever to complete the outfit along the way. You've had some time to think about it. How do you enter Club Anything? What's Cass rocking sort of outside of his normal?
I mean, I guess he would have like I don't know, like a white blazer and bow tie, but be wearing like black shades. And this is probably the best he's dressed in a very long time, so he's gonna be like strutting his stuff a little bit as he walks in.
Oh my god.
It's amazing.
It's like the Spider-Man 3 scene. Just like
Not quite that bad. Not quite that much.
then like the dance as he comes to the door. Oh my god. yeah. Freaking Bee Gees kick on.
This is now canon.
Like you hear the you say you can't tell by the way you use my what, like that falsetto kicks in, and then the record scratch is like Bee Gees. You hear Barth say, and he like flings the record off to the side. Look, Vampire is about variance. You gotta to have the dark stuff and the horror. You gotta break it up with the other emotions. Okay, everyone knows that.
He'll let the sunglasses slide down his nose a little bit, like kind of like a. He recognizes the coterie.
Does the coterie recognize him? It's the real
I
question.
imagine like from the balcony where Pix is. Like she'll peep over when she sees this strange person just sauntering in. Have a double take. Is that Cass? And just I've been inhaling too many wizard vapors tonight after being in that basement. I'm just gonna sit back down and just curl up into a corner. Blast it from her mind.
She's not certain if she's seen Cass or another dementation like hallucination at this point.
It could be anything.
All right. So yeah. Anyone have anything pressing they want to do before the sort of next moment?
I mean, Sal would like a brief hello to each member of the coterie and then would leave.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure to, after I also meet with Sal, I'm gonna make sure to let Elizabeth know that the keypad to get into the room is Helveta, and so she can get in whenever she wants to.
Thank you.
All right.
And then I'm just gonna go mingle with people.
It's funny because if this was like pure audio, people couldn't see the faces of everyone just like laughing the whole time and like not pushing their push to talk. So this is funny. Kind of got an eye on chat there. All right, so Pick sort of retreats to her booth and not my usual hang. You hear the voice again before you see Sundown.
And from across the room, like a thunderclap, you hear Sal's head whip around.
Sal intentionally was not going to be around to embarrass or create tension for his coterie friends.
Oh,
Sun-
lots of fruit.
No, that's very reserved, very very nice of you, actually, Sal. I think that tree has changed you. You know, it's really leaving its mark, you might say.
Taking root, really.
A lot of
but-
personal growth.
Personal growth. Yes.
But you know, I think Pix she's fed up tonight. Just, all right, Sundown, where are you?
Here, close. Just sit down.
All right, I'll plop down in the booth.
He's, just across from you. I didn't realize there was a dress code. And he's got his usual, like leather jacket, but he's got like a gray hoodie underneath with like the hood pulled up, like kind of low, so his like lidless eyes aren't immediately noticeable, and he's got probably a pair of like aviator glasses on or something like that. There's just these big sort of milk white orbs, right? He's got like really big aviator style glasses on to kind of cover them up, and keeps his hands in his pocket. He's got one of those really sort of he has one of those really like sort of shrunken in postures, which isn't actually, that's probably the most normal posture you're familiar with him. He's like, this is oh, and was that Barth?
Looks like he and Elizabeth are tearing up that stage.
Yeah, Barth is a habit of tearing up things.
He seems pretty harmless. I don't know what you're talking about. Unless you're talking about instruments.
I admit it was cute for a while, but Pixie, if you're gonna last long in this latest chapter of your life, you gotta get a bit more of a survivor's instinct.
You're right, which actually, it's why I asked you out here tonight. Oh, go ahead, sorry. This whole thing. Milwaukee. I mean, I just got kind of dumped here. No guidance, no here talk to who, just sit here and wait. And I've tried with my coterie mates, don't get me wrong. They're really nice, but it just doesn't feel like I belong, you know?
I'm not the guy to talk to about this, Pix. Clan before a lot of things, but Sundown before everything. And, if you want information on who's got dirt on who, or just how dangerous Barth is, I'm your guy. If you want someone to tell you who and where you belong,
Pix is just gonna lean in as he continues. I want community sundown. Look, you're nice, I'm sure, but
I'm
I
really
want to belong.
not. I mean, you gotta. I mean, Christian's a community. He's all about that kick.
Where can I find him? I really have been looking for him. I think I could ring a lot, or at the very least, do something right. Not what, all these flashy types do. I could do what I'm good at. Finding out shit, like you. Just different method.
You're not we already had this conversation, I fear, but competition and cooperation in our business they look similar and they both have dire ends. As for where to find Christian, cliche, but the old theater, the old insane asylum turned theater, off of Dahmer, he says. The Marion Center recently closed for demolition. He's been saying goodbye to it, as it were.
Huh. I'll have to check it out then.
You have now officially used up your pity card. And clan card, for that matter.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's not good. Out of character. In character, pixel nod.
Or he's
Pleasure to
bluffing,
meet you.
or he's putting on his as tough a guy act as Sundown's capable of. His tough rat act, as it were.
Tough rat. Yeah. So just nod. It's always a pleasure doing business with you, Sundown. And really, thank you from the bottom of my cold, dead heart.
Why do I feel like a jackass?
Between you and me, you did walk in. Remember that big Italian guy? The one who, had something to do with your place?
Abigail's new pet. Oops.
Yeah.
And then he just sort of like stands up and walks past you, and as he sort of gets out of your sight, he's able to obfuscate again.
She's just gonna yell behind him. You do realize you're in his club, right?
Y'all hear the outburst from the loft.
I have alerted the hounds. But yeah, Pixel, write that down on her phone. Visit area.
Yeah,
Little rat might be my community at.
Yeah, the Marion Center. It's actually got like a pretty sweet theater. Was a mental health clinic. Sometimes Nosferatu just got to play the hits, okay?
But Abigail, I barely remember her. That night was hazy, but I'm gonna have to ask Sal about that.
And Sundown XP ends here, friends.
In the storyteller's defense of liking to constantly sow conflict all the time, in Sundown's moment of feeling like he got by Pix, he decided it was his turn to, like, joust back.
I mean, that's why I picked the club, because I knew he was going to be intimidated, and I would be able to drop that on him.
Man. Fantastic. Fantastic.
You're evil.
Sundown Must
also
Die,
very
Part
nice.
3. Sal burns down every laundromat in town. Fantastic. All right. I'd imagine the Coterie sort of like ended up in one of those like little bit of an amalgam. It's still a little bit of time before Luci shows up. If anyone had any other agendas, I think.
Learned my lesson about asking about sensitive topics in public places, so I'm gonna hold my tongue for now. Learn for the best.
It is about this point that one of the back doors opens up, and gentleman in a pair of black and white wingtips comes in with a pair of silver and black pinstriped pants, wearing a t-shirt. He's got a belt with a sort of like one of those exaggerated like belt buckles, like kind of like a mariachi style. The arms that you can see are tatted, have tattoos from the like full forearm sleeves going up on either side. They almost remind you of ukiyo-e or like Japanese style like yakuza tattoos, but with like Americana iconography instead. And on his back, he has a guitar that has the wave of was it Kanagawa on it. But he has very sort of dark features, sort of like a sort of deep hazel, deep green eyes, and a relatively well manicured beard, goatee, the full likes. Comes in, he sits down with his guitar. Barth plugs him in and stuff like that, and he'll be accompanying Barth this evening. Ben Sahar, you recognize them.
I'm gonna approach my old buddy.
You the proprietor here?
Yes, 1 second. And I'm also going to go locate Cass in his sweet Andrew WK attire.
Barth is in the middle of the set. He gets his sound check out of the way for his guitar, and he, I suppose he follows you over to where Cass is.
So this is a recent associate, Cass.
Virgil. Virgil Diggs, he says.
I'm going to be calling. So that's the alias, huh? All right. That's why I didn't want to say his name. But anyway.
Virgil in Paradise, or Paradiso. Seems apt, he says.
Do you have a question, Cass?
What's the locale right now? How many, or is you around Kindred and Kyne, or do you, like, head someplace more discreet?
Yeah, Cass.
What kind of, what kind of questions do you have? Do you have personal questions?
Questions of personal business, yes.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and go to my office. I'm sure Virgil knows where that is.
All right, you head up to the office. Mercy said you wanted to talk, he says.
Yes. Lately there have been some disappearances of, well, folks that most don't care about.
Yeah. Kind of why I'm here. Well, suspect it's related anyway, he says.
And I have my suspicions of Pentex, and I was just curious what you could shine a light on.
They have a hotshot board member coming into town. Head of special research, they call him. Oh, be sure you get the name, he says, looking around. Apparently this is part of R&D. If they're who I think they are, well, I'm afraid my stay in Milwaukee will be mercifully short, he says, looking at Ben Sahar. Not a mercy to them, though. Your hunch is right on Pentex. I don't know their big game. I don't play on that level. I just make sure monsters disappear by being the bigger monster sometimes.
Do you know where they're taking them? Where they're hiding them, or doing whatever they're doing to them? Do you know where that is?
Warehouse on the lakeside. North. Past Silver Spring and one of the more discreet locations off the lake. I'll get you directions. Or Mercy will.
Do you know what exactly they're doing?
I think they're trying to wake up something.
Something in the lake?
I had a similar suspicion. One of Decker's.
I don't think they're going to be successful, but I think they're about to find out a whole world of other problems in the kind of research they're doing. A lot of trial and error. Dark shit, he says. He very pointedly looks at Ben Sahar when he says dark shit.
So I have a question. Do you still have the Zemi blood from Europe?
What would you want with that?
To help me find something that Akawa is afraid of showing up? I need to make sure Pentek hasn't already found it first.
I'll have Mercy put together a care package for both of you. Look, we can't keep... I figure we got one more meeting like this. We better make it good. Decker's surveillance. World class. Like, I've been a lot of places, and I make it a habit to not be seen getting in or out of them. Mercy and I are both basically working double time on this one.
Speaking of Mercy, I was a little surprised to see the current state she's in.
Sometimes playing two hands is the best.
I'll have to ask about that sometime.
We're still on the same page, though, he says. Mercy and I. Are you and I still on the same page?
Right now,
Always a bigger monster, right?
always.
I have a gig to go accompany.
All right, then. Do you have any more questions, Cass?
No, that's all I need to know. For now.
You got a care pack. You know what? You got a friend in an unlikely place. He says, pointing at Cass. You'll see in the care package. It'll be discreet like usual. Nice meeting you, Cass.
And you as well, Virgil.
Right. He smiles. Do you need that dagger back?
You still have it?
I know who does.
I wouldn't mind getting that back for what's coming up.
Call it even. For Copenhagen?
Our line of work? Maybe. Maybe it could be just the start of a new debt.
Even for now, then, huh?
For now.
He kind of gives like a light tip of the hat and he steps out.
All right.
It's about that moment where Elizabeth, accompanied by Virgil, takes the stage, and he's just kind of light accompaniment per Barth's request, a very sort of southwestern style strumming, picking guitar accompaniment, just to kind of get the playing along with it. But then when your set piece comes up, he just sort of like bows himself out and lets you in. And you're sort of heading into the set. A little equal parts sort of like jazz and improv, right? With Barth kind of feeling each other out and playing. And you have sort of two Torador in their element, like kind of rocking it. Go ahead and add your presence dice to either a dexterity or charisma performance. Plus, obviously, you're using a violin, and I believe you have a specialty in it.
Yes.
And Barth is going to do the same with his DJing skills.
Yeah, so I would have kind of tipped off to him like a little bit more electronic, like dubsteppy, like really get the energy in the room going, able to showcase our current skill sets for both him and I.
Okay.
And before we start playing, there would have been in the obligatory party on, Barth.
Party on, Liz.
All right, so what do I roll?
So performance, and you can, if it's more of a like sort of like interactive with the audience, you can do charisma. If it's otherwise just like trying to like just shred and be as proficient as possible, dexterity, I'd imagine. I don't play violin.
Probably charisma to get the like crowd kind of worked in.
You want to do my one favorite thing that D&D 4th edition ever did. The only thing I'll ever really truly commend them for is skill challenges, where they do like little 3-part checks. You want to do a little bit of that? We'll do like a little 3-part sort of skill challenge. The first part will get the audience into it with the charisma. Then we'll do like a little bit of a dexterity thing. And we'll do like a best 2 of 3 type thing.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, to start that off, charisma performance, specialty, and you said presence?
Yeah, you can add your just presence dice to part of the pool, because I'd imagine you're embellishing a little bit with your discipline here.
Okay, how the hell do I get this to roll?
Y'all kids and your newfangled technology. See, I just grab dice and then I throw them at at the ground.
I don't know if I really have enough D10s for this one, though.
That's fine. Oh my god. Humble brag.
Humble brag. Toreador, humble brag. I'm performing and I don't have enough dice.
Gonna have to grab the Warhammer dice.
Okay, so we got charisma rolling from presence, adding in performance and the specialty. So that'd be another.
Well, if you want to square that away, and then you can do like a R command, right, to add in.
I think this should work.
Holy shnikes.
5 successes out of all that.
It's still greater than 50%, right?
Just getting warmed up.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Barth starts spinning. He's gonna start out light. He actually matches you with 5. So you're pretty much in harmony from the jump. And then basically right as Luci sort of steps in, you sort of get into the like the music starts building. The crowd's like in it, clapping in time and dancing and so on and so forth. Even the kindred presence can feel their blood start pumping. Oh, did we have a bot? Did someone squash the bot?
No, no one's there to do it. I feel that more dice should have rolled for that one.
The previous roll or the... Because I still
Yeah.
want to see the one.
The presence and charisma. I was just going through that. 8 for charisma and performance, 3 from presence, plus 1 from the specialty.
I mean, I see 11 on the screen here.
I think it should have been 12. Doesn't matter anyway, but
Mhm.
still trying to figure out how like adding like all of these things combined actually works with this system itself. All right, so what's next?
It's easy enough when you're just clicking off your character sheet, right? But then I'm weird and I improv too much. So, yeah. I mean, next would be like a performance with like your more your dexterity, presence performance.
Still okay.
Interesting. I see what happened. So you roll a presence charisma, but your performance didn't get rolled in. Well, how about this time you just roll a straight? Roll your straight performance, your performance charisma. We'll say that the presence was sort of like, setting the scene before, and now it's on the sheer talent.
So you want dexterity and performance for this one?
Sure. Yeah.
No modifier. Oh, I guess I get the 1 modifier for my specialty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this should be 8 dice, not factoring in presence. I may use willpower to kind of boost that a little bit.
All right, roll 2 dice. This is about the time.
3 successes.
All right, this is about the time. This is about the time Luci sort of like comes in. She kind of like sees the crowd jiving. She sees Barth and so on and so forth. Why don't you go ahead and choose of your dice pools which one you'd like to roll for this sort of like the third and final to like bring it home type thing, bring the performance home.
I will have to go with charisma.
Okay. Well, I can see your like little icon moving all around there. There you go.
That's better.
The
yeah.
Toradorian commences.
The Toradoring. There's been a lot of Toradoring going on. I love that. I can't say that as a verb. That was rough for me. Yeah.
Blood says, right?
Oh, come on. You can shred a little bit.
What?
Don't tease us.
See, that's the trick with push to talk. I can only do one thing at a time.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. We'll do for the Patreons or whatever. When we get rich and famous, we'll have you play like violin solos or something for Patreon benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll give me time to practice some more because right now you don't want to hear that.
Fair. Yeah. So you like give a rousing performance. Like really, I think there's a moment there where like Elizabeth could kind of feel like this is not, this isn't my best type thing. Like like she's playing, but like she's maybe out of sync a little bit with Barth. And then it was just like she sort of like just got this surge, of this real crescendo really, and just brought it home. The audience like erupts at this point. The catharsis spreads around the room, the euphoria, as the sort of like kind begin to like sort of like sweat and sway with the music. All the kindred present, they're sort of like feel this energy, and also feel a hunger for all this vitality. Everyone roll your rouse.
You what?
Elizabeth can roll 2 dice at humanity 8.
Oh no, that's a failure.
Yep.
Did Sal leave before this?
Yes.
Not getting hungrier.
All right. So Barth is going to continue to do his thing. We're going to wrap up here real quick. We'll save the Luci Elizabeth bit to sort of like bookend next week because we got some. I know there's some stuff going on. Does that sound decent? But I have one little final thing I'd like to have happen from this evening.
I mean, we can always do the Lucy thing as an aside, as a special edition
Oh, I see. So like
opus, you call it?
Yeah, the opus, the Nocturnus opus. A lot of musical themes to campaigns I run. So we can do the Nocturnus opus for that. You'll be in the soundproof chamber and so on and so forth that Ben set aside. Sort of like the coming down off the high of a great performance. Barth stays spinning, but he goes into something a little bit more passive, and just kind of sits there bobbing his head and hanging out, and like folks are, as you're kind of getting down off the stage, like folks are like, man, that was amazing, like like you're like a real musician, and like just lavishing like sincere compliments about how much you rocked, as well as like the weird like backhanded compliments, and of people not realizing they're in the presence of like something truly great. Like we have this like the real reason people don't recognize like Superman or Supergirl when they're in their personas is partially because like people refuse to believe they're in the presence of greatness, and so you get a little bit of that, like this like bashfulness from the audience, even that accompanies like true greatness and witness of true greatness, right? And Barth just kind of looks over at you as you're sort of like unplugging and packing up your violin, and just like he just has one of those like damn type moments, and just like this like Elizabeth Harker's fucking legit, like sort of facial expression type thing.
I couldn't have done it without you.
Like wow, yeah, shit. Here, he goes into his like into his wallet, and from like sort of like the hidden, like sort of behind the zipper part, pulls out like a card. He's like, this is direct, he says, and he gives it to you. Don't worry, it's safe. It's traditional, he says, but it's direct.
In case of emergency?
Or if you just want to do that again, he says.
Absolutely.
So he passes that card. And the coterie sort of like maybe like all who's still left in here. Is Pix still avoiding all the Tremere and Toreadorings respectively that have gone on, or does she kind of reconvene with the coterie?
Toreadoring is something I can appreciate, and Elizabeth is a delightful kindred. But I imagine, like, as Pix, as soon as sundown goes out with his tail between his legs, she'll head back down onto the dance floor, to see what Elizabeth and her performance gets astounded by it, then bump immediately into Cass and just see the full horror of the outfit. Just like,
I think you mean majesty of the outfit.
Hey, Cass.
Little bet. What's good?
Oh my god. What's good? Nice threads you're rocking there.
Thanks. It took a little time to get it together.
Well, it really shows. Really shows.
Fantastic. Cass and Pix are sort of having their little bit of a sidebar. Ben Sahar maintains the sort of role of the devilish host. And Luci Ben-Sahar probably comes over to greet Luci as Elizabeth's making her way through the crowd and sort of the various ovations and stuff like that. When Luci turns to Ben-Sahar pretty pointedly, "You're Ben, right?"
I am indeed.
And Elizabeth can overhear this conversation, and even Pix and Cass, if they care to pay attention. It's pretty rambunctious in here, but you still, you're still kindred. You're still, your guards are still up. In heck, this is, predator prey type situation, kindred amongst kind. Your kindred senses are still heightened, so you're still kind of paying attention. No rules necessary. Elizabeth, you have some delay in just sheer physically making your way through the crowd. Would be the only thing. I had a visitor by way of New York here. Said his name was Elias. He wanted to meet with you. His Prince went through all the decorum with Decker and so on and so forth. But I wasn't. Well, we're not really on familiar terms enough for me to give him the okay. Should I?
Sure.
If I were to tell him where to meet you, when to meet you. He seemed quite interested in your new club.
In his earliest convenience.
I'll pass along the message.
I haven't seen Elias in a long time.
Elias, you mean?
Sure.
She gives you a wry smile. And it is about that moment that Elizabeth meets up with the sort of rest of the, like at a party, you're kind of all standing a little bit disjointed, but you're together type thing. Coterie. This would be a visual metaphor right now.
So, what'd you think?
That was. You're like this one chick I watched on YouTube, Lindsay Sterling. You were amazing.
She scoffs at the name, kind of turns around. I was there first.
Of course. I'm just saying. You were astounding, like whole room jumping.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Sure, your lady friend liked it too, and Pixie will just waggle her thin little eyebrows.
Lady friend.
It's Luci, she says. I seem to recall you from the Calatrava, from my party. You were a little bit more heated then. She says to Pix.
Yeah, I was, a little... It wasn't one of my best nights. But it's nice to meet you, anywho. Again.
Indeed. Well, thanks for inviting me out, she says. Looks around. Could use a lighter touch, but Paradiso. Dante Alighieri, she says to Ben-Sahar.
Homage to a club I own overseas.
I like poetry.
It fits the name a lot better.
She smiles. Anyway, we had to go over a couple things. She says to Elizabeth.
Yes, we have a room set aside for us.
Oh.
Follow me.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, nice to make your acquaintance. Perhaps we'll catch up before the evening's over, she says. Um, business before pleasure, as it always goes.
Why not both?
I like how you think, she says. We can call it there for the evening. I already ran over a little bit more than what I intended, but
Yeah, but there's so much good stuff packed in there.
when there's RP on the line, you let the scenes play, you know? Like, my one story beat was meaningless in the face of all that role play. +1 XP for bad pun. Bad puns again. I am going to allow the sundown hack because Sal had a moment there where he could have easily retconned him and I wouldn't have called him on it. Because he's like, have I left yet? Instead of saying like, oh, I don't think I've quite made it out yet, or not insisting. You know, like there was a moment there. And then he went full like chivalry or whatever. And he's like, no, I meant to be gone. So I didn't have to make it awkward for Pix. And honestly...
Yeah, that's probably why I never mentioned Sundown coming. Because she told me that he was coming. And I'm sitting there talking to Sal like, yep. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you about my XP hack, you motherfucker.
Just like, somewhere there's some force, or it's like, I need to let this little rat live.
He lives till the XP dries up.
Yeah. He lives until Pix doesn't need him anymore, and it looks like she's got a hold of someone much more important.
That was...
I got plans for all that little section.
Is over. Sundown will decorate my tree.
Oh, the sundown Christmas tree, that's awful.